not a writer.
Okay.
For those who...
What we do here is go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
But I promise you,
Army, what's going on? Bear Guy. That's tonight's t-shirt. So, haha, all of you lose. Nobody guessed the Bear Guy. Anyway, welcome. It's Wednesday. Hump Day. Tex says, God damn it, I was going to say Bear Guy. But you didn't, did you? So now it just looks like you're 20, hindsight 2020. Anyway, so, you guys, welcome to the Chada Mecha live stream. I am your host, Tim, the one and only Chada Mecha, and tonight we are going to get our hands dirty. We've got a lot of stuff to work on tonight, because I was up late last night working, and we'll show you here in a few seconds what we got going on, right? But first, before we get into all that, hey, if you want one of these cool-ass Bear Guy t-shirts, and Tex says it was Bear Guy all along, boo-boo. Boo-boo. You can get, you can hit up chadamecha.com. Hit the store button up at the top. You will find shirts, hats, and bags, and all that good stuff over there. Go get you some. And if you want to pick up any of the tools or materials that we are working with tonight, there's a little Amazon link just below here on YouTube and Twitch. That side, if you're watching on Facebook, everything is already sourced, sorted, tried and tested, all that good stuff. It's already on there, so go take a look at that, and you might find something that you like. I get a little commission based off of the stuff that you buy. It does go to help out the show. So, buy everything. Thank you. After that, let's see, if you need model kits, if you need paints, if you need decals, especially those decals, because they're amazing, right? We showed that on Monday, right? Go hit up our boys over right down here, right there, USA Gundam Store. Adam and the folks down there will definitely hook you up. Now, I see Zach Bleish is in the audience. Zach, what's up? I would be remiss if I didn't mention Galactic Toys in beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan. They have an amazing store, and you can buy a bunch of stuff online from them too. So, P Bandai for days, all that good stuff in store. Go check it out if you have the ability. It's a destination type store, let's put it that way. So, and if you like pop culture and like comic stuff, Funko Pops, the card games, all that stuff, they got you covered all day. So, yeah. So, hi guys, how are you? I'm fine. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Happy to say that I finished a major real work project today. So I'm like, thank you. Flynn Berger's in the audience. Good day, Tim. Good day, chat. Good day over there, Flynn. What's up? Kirk Hill is over there. Morning, Craig. He says, hey, if you guys aren't checking out Craig and Kirk's GBWC projects, I think that you really should. Just saying. Kirk is posting some crazy pictures of his tube thing that he scratch built with LEDs and all that, and his crazy customized dom and all that, and it's looking really, really good. Gumpla Works over there on Instagram if you're interested. But Craig's doing some crazy shit too, because he's making this sick double or 8th MS Team style diorama that is looking amazing. So it's just like, I don't know who to root for. And then you throw in James No Zaku Boy, and it's a 3-horse race, I think, this year for GBWC down in Australia. I'd hate to be one of the judges, or Gooch. I'd hate to be Gooch to judge that race, because I'm rooting for all three of them. I say give them all a trophy, let them all go to Japan, 3-way tie, done. Case closed. Yeah, done. So hey, go follow Gumpla Works on Instagram. Go follow Flynn Berger on Instagram and all that good stuff. Man, it's worthy of a follow. It definitely is. It's worthy of a follow. Man, look at these two. They're like all they're all sorts of like humble and everything. Kirk's like, haha, yeah, looks like tough competition this year. And then Flynn's like, Kurt's build is front runner for me. Man, y'all shut up, man. Stop being humble. Just have a little hubris. Just a little bit. It doesn't hurt the world. Just a little hubris is not that bad. Just a little bit. Just say, yeah, I'm really proud of my shit. That's all you got to do. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But these guys are amazing. Seriously, these guys are amazing. Go follow them on Instagram and all the other places that they post. So it's worthy. Definitely worthy. All right, so you guys, like I said, we got a bunch of stuff cooking on the bench tonight. So without any further ado, let's get over to good old camera 2, shall we? All right, let's zoom out just a bit. That looks good to me. All right, so let's see. Let's kind of itemize this and do this one at a time, right? So these pieces here, these are the armor, chest and armor and stuff like that, and kind of the torso armor and stuff. And these all have like these molded in details, these indentions and stuff, right? I don't like the looks of them, mainly because the pre-molded details are usually pretty soft in terms of quality, right? It looks like it basically looks like the details melted a little bit, right? Looks like melted butter, basically. Just, Quellish. For those of you that know that, props. That's old. Leonard Part 6. Go look it up. You won't regret it. But anyway, so I filled all these little spots here with super glue. Our good old friend, Mr. Bob Smith Industries, that good old super glue there. We filled up all these little molded in details and stuff like that. So we're going to work on some of these a little bit later after we show you kind of everything that's going on. What else? Let's get this guy right in here now. This guy and this guy right here, same part, right? So what I did was modified the wing binder here to get glued up. This is all glued up solid as a rock, right? And so this is paint ready, essentially, in terms of construction, not in terms of detail and finish. Still have to clean the seam line here and stuff like that, do some modifications and all that, but in terms of actual part construction, this thing is ready to go, because I've made alterations to the parts in such a way that this vent right here, I've cut the tabs on that, and you can see that they're just little slices now, right? So basically I can just pop this in and drop it in like that, and it's good to go. Now I'm not going to do that because fishing it out will probably be hell. So I'm not going to do that until the very, very final stages of this, but that's ready to go. Now another part of this is the connection point right here. This part basically just pops in there like that, right? Now the thing is that this opening for this part was really tight, like really, really tight. Like once you put it on there, you're ain't getting it off, right? So what I did was I took the 0.15 chisel, yeah, and went right around the perimeter of this to get basically a starting point. Pop this out of there. Now this was before this part was glued up, mind you. And then I went ahead and took, the good old needle files, just filed that line down until everything matched perfectly. So now you have a 0.15 millimeter gap all the way around. This thing slots in like boop, like that, and it's just clean as can be. It can be pulled in, on and off, and for painting and everything. So this part you can paint separately now, which makes it super, super easy. And then once we're painted up, final assembly, just pop that in, a little bit of glue in there, This thing's solid as a rock. Plain and simple. So we're going to be working with this part a little bit tonight. We also did the same thing on the tanks here. Obviously, you can see the seams, you know, the squeeze out and all that around there. We need to clean that up. That's nice and cured at this point. And then I started working on the chest armors. And basically what I did was I started to get that a little bit more angled, right? A little bit more flattened and stuff. So if you remember correctly, this was kind of a swooping curve right here, right? I didn't like that. I didn't want that look. I didn't want people to say, "Oh, that's from a Goof Custom." No, I don't want that. That's not what we go for. So what I did was flatten these two angles out, popped a 1mm sheet plastic on there with super glue, just laminated everything nice and solid, filled in all of the perimeter pieces and everything with super glue, so that's nice and just ready to go. And here's basically the part that I've cut down so far. This needs fine trimming. This is not ready to go right now as it is, but you can kind of get a better idea of the angles that we're kind of going for, right? So there's that. So let's see here. Now, a couple people I know asked some questions. RF Aurora Andrew 2 says, are you going to mod the chest so that the entire front piece folds down to expose the cockpit like the new Origin movies? No, actually, because I don't know about you guys, but I never put in the cockpit pieces. I just skip it. There's no sense in it for me because I'm never going to expose those, right? You're never going to see them in any of my builds, so it's just like, why even bother putting that in there, right? It's just something else that can get in the way, quite frankly. So, yeah, so it's basically just a big old cavity in there. So, no, it's not going to be exposed. Everything is going to be sealed up tight. You're never going to see the inside. Never, ever, 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 ever. Never. Anyway, let's see. What else did we do? We also started working on the upper arms, right? Let's get zoomed in just a bit. Yeah, just a scotch. Let's see if you guys can see that here. Now what I basically did was reinforced the panel here. This is actually an armor separation, but reinforced it so you can pull that apart, right? But reinforced it into what it looks like, basically just like a panel line, right? Popped in some notches here on this upper line right here, and then two on the lower line, and then kind of drew in what I want the back to look like, right? So I think that's a good look for that. And then we still have to work on the other two sides, but that's kind of in the beginning phases, yeah? So, like I said, you guys, lots of stuff being done last night, wee into the hours of the morning. Yeah, fun times, right? Fun times. So let's start with easy stuff first, right? Let's start with that. Let's get our eyes on, yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this guy a little bit here, and we're gonna clean up some seams, and I'm going to show you kind of how I do things. Now, this particular part is super easy to clean, so this should be pretty much a good demo, right? Now, what I did was I used these binder clips as clamps, right? So just pop those all the way around the perimeter of the seam line, and these work wondrously. These are the small ones, right? The small binder clips, and I've got bigger ones like that too, like this big boy here. So very, very handy. I highly suggest you getting some. I mean, you can just pick them up at like the local Target, Walmart, Staples, Office Depot, place like that. They're a couple bucks for like 50 or something like that. It's crazy, but they come in very, very handy. Very handy. Yeah. Let's see. Colin Bar, has anyone received their Chopper 2 yet if they bought one? Since Tim mentioned their unfortunate closing announcement a couple streams ago. Arf Aurora says, I got mine at my house the day before Tim's announcement, so I managed to get it for under $50. Yeah, right. One of those things. Price shot right up there on Amazon the night after we discussed that, didn't it? Sucks, but what are you gonna do? I actually found I know I was telling you guys I think Monday or something like that, but I placed an order on Taobao, and I was looking on there a little bit earlier today on different stores and stuff, and I actually found the chopper on one of the vendors that I frequent. And they wanted I think the American or the US dollar conversion was 56, and it looked like they had like 25 in stock. So if worse comes to worse, we can buy them on Taobao, you guys. Oh man, crazy. Anyway, let's talk about fixing this this seam line here, right? Actually, now that I look at it, let's zoom in a little bit. Let's zoom in all the way for this so you guys can kind of see what we're working with here, yeah? Now, good, yeah, that's perfect actually. So you can see the glue squeeze out right along the seam here, yeah? And that's what you want. You want that glue, that solvent glue, our friend Plastic Magic, you want that to come oozing out all the way around. That shows you've got nice, not only nice adhesion and nice melting there, but also that you're probably not going to have any gaps or little indentations or holes in that particular seam, right? So that's a very, very good sign. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see massive amounts of squeeze out. That's not good. But what you do want to see is just a consistent small amount right around the seam. That's perfect, right? So all we got to do first, and mind you, everybody's kind of got their own way of doing things, right? But I like to come in just with a hobby knife and just kind of knock down the high points, right? Just get the real prominent squeeze out just trimmed off of there, right? Because we're going to come back with several different tools and things, and we're going to basically just get this down to nothing, right? We're not being super aggressive. We're just kind of, like I said, knocking down the high points right now, yeah? So we'll just do these kind of two sides right here. Just like that. Perfect. Now, you could potentially use your hobby knife for this next step, or if you have one, the even better tool is, boom, that ceramic scraper. Thank you, Luis. You're the man. Luis, Ultraman Dyna, hooked it up. And I'm telling you what, you guys, I love this thing. I love this thing. Yeah. I didn't think that I was going to like it as much as I do. Let's put it that way, right? I knew I was going to like it. I didn't know I was going to like it this much. Keep that in mind. So, so basically all I do next is just kind of scrape down the seam, right? And you just want to feather it out. Just go back and forth across the seam. And you want to go with the seam. You don't want to go against it, right? And just right up, we're going to do the whole thing, right? Now, if if you're doing this right, this should pass the nail test no problem, right? Right now, there should be no seam. There should be absolutely no seam whatsoever, any noticeable, type of irregularity or anything like that in this plastic at this point, right? Now, the only thing, and this is simply because we have a curved surface, is that the ceramic scraper will leave, just incrementally flat surfaces here, yeah? Which, not that bad. Not a big deal. Because we're going to come back and we're going to hit this with some sandpaper and really just kind of finish this up. Let's see. Garrett Tucker's over there on Facebook. He says, popping in to say, hey, I'll be checking out the reposted video. Nice. Ooh, and I second that ceramic knife. Works wonders. Dude, Garrett, thank you for popping in, man. Studio 7 over there, Studio 7 Gunpla, I believe, is Instagram. Go check out Garrett. He makes some really cool shit. He really does. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Gary's over there on Twitch. Gary Gunpla, YRAG Gunpla, if you guys are interested. Gary's got some, is getting some pretty hefty scribing chops, you guys. He's scribing the hell out of his new Gundam Verka, and it's looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. It's looking pretty good. All right, so got a little stubborn area right there that we're gonna have to get a little aggressive with. So we're pulling out the actual knife. So we need to kind of work that down a little bit. That's good. All right, so now for most of this, I'm still going to go back and fine tune this and kind of take my time and all that. But you guys kind of get the steps of the process, right? So now we're just going to hit this with some sandpaper. I think this is 600, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But we're just going to come along and again, just feather that out across the surface. Just like that, and do that on all the sides here. Now the fact that this is rounded kind of makes it easy, but if this was straight and you had some angles to it and stuff like that, that's when you pull out a good old sanding block or your needle file, right? Keep everything straight. Use these. Yeah, use those. So now, now that we've got this thing nicely sanded, this is pretty much ready to go. Now, one thing that I would do as a final step in this process is to wet sand these and get these just ultra smooth and just really nice looking, right? These are already really nice. There's no flat surfaces. This is all now curved and rounded. I mean, you can see that profile there. It looks really nice. This passes the fingernail test like crazy. And for those of you guys that don't know what the fingernail test is, just run your fingernail like this over that seam. And if your fingernail catches, then you got to go back and readdress, right? Readdress the seam. But if it just glides across that seam, good to go. You're good to go. Yeah. Miguel Alfonso Beckers, he's over there on Facebook. He says, "Hey Tim, how do you make your pieces? Do you use a 3D printer or is it made with plastic injection? And if you use a 3D printer, what is better, filament or resin?" Wow, that is a number one, a great question. Number two, a very broad question, but I like it. I like it. He says, how do you make the pieces? Actually, I don't use a 3D printer. Plastic injection really is for production. This part right here is just off of a Bandai, a high grade Briarlant custom that I've kit bashed, right? So plastic injection is more for production purposes, model companies and things like that. Now, when it comes to specialized parts, things like, say, like the shield, yeah, then this here is plastic laid over top of the Bandai part. Now, when you really want to get super crazy about things and do something kind of like that right there that we made way before for the Ozymandias that we never used. This right here is completely scratch built from plastic sheet and tube and stuff like that. So yeah, those are the methods that I use. I use number one, scratch building with plastic. I will also use things like the Tamiya epoxy putty for reshaping pieces and things like that. We did that extensively with Ozymandias, the previous build, and we also did it here a little bit with the Zaku 2 head. With the sloping visor here, we did that. We used epoxy putty there, right? So that's another tool that you can use for actual scratch building. Now, when it does come to 3D printers, Miguel wants to know what's better, filament or resin. Resin, hands down. Because what you're going to find is that the resin printers, the SLA printers, are going to be a much, much higher quality in terms of print. You're going to get much better resolution or clarity in terms of your print. So if you have access to one, yeah, you're definitely going to want to use that because that'll definitely give you a much, much cleaner piece. So, things like, printers from like Form Labs, like the Form 1, Form 2, those are great consumer SLA printers. They take a little bit of work cleaning up afterwards in terms of making sure that the resin is fully cured. You use a UV light and stuff like that to really clean those up and cure those. But minimal sanding after that, and those parts are essentially ready to go. If you wanted to, recast those in traditional resin or use those straight out of the gate, right? So hopefully, Miguel, that answers your question, man. But in terms of what I do not use 3D printers. I am old school, scratch built, modify, create. So that's a really good question, dude. Really good question. I like that. I like when I get deep questions like that. That gets a cheers from me. Miguel, cheers, brother. I like it. I like it. All right, cool. So, nice. Julio says that is awesome. Oh, you guys like the kukri style sword for the Aussie, huh? You guys like that? Yeah, I made this for the Aussie way before I kind of had his current sword concocted, and yeah, I like this design. It's a little messy in certain places, and it just kind of didn't scale with the Aussie very well, so that's why I didn't use it with him. But I saved it, of course, because who knows when I could use it next, right? Might have to break it out and use it on the GM Spartan or something like that, or some other future project. Who knows? So. But then also, you guys can't forget this guy. The Moa Hawk, the mother of all heat hawks. Yeah, this is more like a heat axe, right? That's some good looks right there. I don't care who you are. That's some good looks. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled show here. So like I said, this seam now is just, there's no seam there anymore. It's perfectly smooth. And like I said, I'd probably go ahead and wet sand this just a little bit. Let's give it a shot just real quick. We've got some, I think this is 1500 Tamiya finishing paper real quick. We're just going to get that right there in the water. And let's see, let's go on this one, since this one's a little bit more done. And we're just going to go at it. Now, for those of you that have not seen wet sanding before, you guys, wet sanding is one of the best things that you can do to finish off your kit, right? In terms of surface preparation and getting it ready for paint and everything. Wet sanding makes your parts just super smooth, because what'll happen is, obviously you're going to use wet sandpaper, right? Sandpaper that's made for wet sanding, and usually it's a pretty high grit, right? Like I said, I think that was a 1500 grit, but you can use crazy high just crazy high grits, right? Now, let's see if we can kind of see the difference here. And what we might do, let's go super zoom on these, because I do want to show you, why this is important, right? So let's get here. Let's get super zoomed. And right there. Okay, let's get these lined up here, shall we? Right there. Focused in. Super zoom. Booyah. Okay. So. Alright. Let's get the water out of the way so we don't spill it all over ourselves, because that would be bad, yeah? Alright. So. This one here, you can kind of see, this is the one that we just dry sanded so far, right? This still has somewhat of a texture here, right? And you can see just the little very small sanding lines. You can see how it's still kind of got that flat, kind of mattish kind of texture, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. You could get away with this, yeah? You could absolutely get away with this, but, oh, look at how pretty that surface is. That right there is just smooth, just butter smooth, right? Look at that. It's even got some sheen on it. It's so nice and clean right here. Yeah. This is a perfect surface. There's nothing there. There's just nothing there. So, that's why I say, wet sand, guys. Wet sand, wet sand, wet sand. I can't stress it enough. Wet sand your models, because you will get just an amazing surface. Okay? Come on, go back to one. There we go. Boom. Cool. All right. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Good stuff. Excellent. Hey, there's Kira over there on Facebook. He says, can I reuse the sandpaper after wet sanding? Absolutely. He says, I mean, after wet sanding, if the grit is still there, is the sandpaper still functional? Yes, absolutely. 100%. You can definitely reuse the sandpaper, because I do all the time. I have... I've got this bin of sandpaper that I have accumulated over a long time of, building models and stuff. And yeah, absolutely. Save it in like a little bin like this and reuse it. Yeah. If it's still good, it's still good. Done. Yeah. So there you go. All right. So moving on, this surface right now, just, man, super clean, super smooth. So we're going to put these off to the side. We're not going to worry about those anymore this evening. Okay. And I'll end up doing the same thing to these tanks here. Same exact process. You just take off the high points with the knife, come back in with either your hobby knife or your ceramic scraper, scrape that down nice and smooth. Do a little bit of dry sanding just to get it really nice and smooth, and then come back, finish it off with wet sand, and just make it buttery, just buttery smooth. And you're essentially, after that, ready for paint. That surface is ready to go. Yeah, done. Let's see. McDio says, Manny says, what are the grits for wet sanding? And I'm guessing you need sandpaper for wet sanding. Yes. So wet sanding, I mean, I've seen wet sandpaper go down as far as 400, and then you can get it like in stupid high grits, right? I have a pack that I got off Amazon. It goes from 400 to 3,000. Right? So 400, 600, 800,000, 12, 15, 2,000, 2,500, and then 3,000. I've seen up to like, stupid amounts, like 30,000 grit. Like, who needs that, right? Unless you're doing something just stupid, need like a mirror gloss coat or something like that, right? And even then, who knows, right? But yeah, I mean, you can do it with whatever. I particularly like, your higher grits, your 1,500, your 2,000, because that'll leave us just a really, really nice surface. Now, if you do want to go with a high gloss finish, then you're going to want to, work your way up to higher grits, maybe even 3,000 at that point. Simply because you need that surface just absolutely perfect. Yeah. So, but there you go. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so Tyler McCombs, he's over there on YouTube. What's up, Tyler? Thanks for watching. He says you can use any grit for wet sanding, but higher grits will give you smoother results. Bingo, exactly. And even 400, even if you go down to the rock bottom, still gives you super smooth results, I find. Because what'll happen is that sandpaper, as it basically sands that surface, the dust will create a slurry with that water, and it'll more polish than real sand. So even 400 will give you pretty smooth results, to be quite honest with you. If you were to compare, say, a 400 dry sandpaper with 400 wet sandpaper, you'd see absolute differences in terms of surface finish. So keep that in mind. But yeah, Tyler's got a great point there. He also says, I tend to stay... where did it go? I lost it. Damn it. Okay, so I tend to stay around 1,000 to 1,500 grit myself. So do I. And he says, when you get to 30,000 grit, you're in the realm of polishing chrome to mirror finish. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Very good stuff. Hey, Terry T's over there on YouTube as well. He says, Tim, the GM shield that you showed in the class, was that wet sand with 1500? It's such a great finish, and I forgot to ask about the grit in class. The GM shield, this guy, this this thing, right? This is actually not sanded at all. This this is actually really nasty surface. This was, oh man, this was primed many years ago with some, I think, Kohl's generic painter primer back in the day. It was really good for the level I was at, but this stayed in primer for many years, and then I stripped it to see what would happen. This definitely etched the surface of the plastic, so there is a texture on it. So no, Terry, this thing is not sanded whatsoever. So this is actually kind of nasty. That's why I use it for glasses and stuff and just tack crap on here, right? Just easier that way. So there you go. Anyway, Kenneth Sim says prefer 800 for final dry sanding. That's probably a good call. Yeah. Let's see. Rushlam, Bill, he says, if you change sanding directions with your incremental increase in grit, you get much smoother results. Absolutely, 100%. When you're wet sanding, especially with 1500 grit, and honestly, the thing to keep in mind, guys, is that I always flat coat my my models, so I don't need super perfect surfaces. So I guess I'm lazy like that. So yeah. Terry T says, I see. So in order to get that finish, I have to prime and then strip. Secrets revealed. Dude, you'd have to leave it for about 10 years and then come back to it and strip it. So if you really want to get that type of finish, which mind you, I don't recommend it at all. You can achieve that type of texture with paint, honestly, and primer. So yeah. Let's see. Kiriet, says, if I'm planning to do a high gloss finish surface, is it better to wet sand the original surface and proceed to polishing compound, or use polishing compound on the original surface? Okay, so what I think Kira is saying is wet sanding the plastic, right? Laying down your primer, laying down your paint, and then wet sanding the paint, which is something I would probably suggest. And then once you get your gloss coat on there, then do your like your Tamiya polishing compound, work through the 3 stages of that, and that'll get you pretty good results right there. So yeah. Tyler McComb says, pro tip with sandpaper: rubbing, cementing it to polystyrene blocks or wide popsicle sticks. They can warp from wet sanding, though. Is great to keep your sanding level. Oh, yeah. So basically, yeah, like using sanding blocks, basically. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. If you can get the acrylic pieces, if you know somebody that has a laser cutter, or if you happen to live around someplace that does laser cutting, then yeah, get them to cut out some acrylic blocks, because that stuff won't warp at all, and you can achieve exactly what Tyler was talking about. So yeah, very good tip. Mickle Pickle, is that Mikkel? Maybe. He says, after you prime, do you usually wet sand? No, I don't. Well, no, you know what? I honestly, I take that back. It's situational. I will sometimes. It depends on the how the primer went down, and if I have to, fill in any imperfections or something like that. Usually not. Usually the surface is smooth enough to where it looks good, right? And mind you, like I said, I don't go after high gloss finishes, you guys. If I did, I probably would, but I don't, so I don't. Andrew Young says, speaking of sanding, Madworks' new sanding tool, I got that on pre-order. Dude, why? The flimsy little... Are you talking about the flimsy little photo etch deals? Let's bring up Andrew's link. Yeah, those. Oh, God. Andrew, you know that's like 0.2 of a millimeter thick and it's going to flex and everything, right? Right? I'm just saying. It's going to. It's going to. Bill says, Tyler, you can get acrylic blocks in different sizes and shapes. Boom. Yeah, there you go. Amazon or Hobby Shop have pre-cut ones. Yeah, they are great. They are great. Dean's with us. He's over there on YouTube. He says, the piano competition I just won might or might not be the International Piano Masterclass in Vietnam. Just saying. Rock and roll. Congratulations, Dean. Good job, buddy. Proud of you. Good stuff. Good stuff. Andrew, what are you talking about, man? Who banned you from her site? Anyway, Tyler McCombs over there on YouTube. He says, oh yeah, acrylic over polystyrene I was thinking of. I have plot plate on the brain. All good, man. Don't worry about it. We got you. Dwidget, Thurno, what? Dwidget, did you... What's the... Is it Hobbies and Games? Thurno Hobbies and Games? Or is it Games and Hobbies? I thought it was Hobbies and Games. But I can't remember. Anyway, Thurno's Hobbies and Games, for those of you that need to find hard-to-find stuff, trust me, Dwidget, Thurno, he can find it for you. Track it down like a bounty hunter. Get you some of that. Anyway. Thurno, Hobby, and Gaming. I've been saying it wrong. Hobby and Gaming. Okay. Thurno, Hobby, and Gaming on Facebook. Sorry about that, dude. That's my bad. But yeah, seriously, he will be a bloodhound on the track of whatever you need, and he will find for you. So, cheers to my boy. There we go. Hey, George is with us. Old school Gumpla. What's up, George? Good to see you. Andrew says, I was talking about the Dream Studio, DreamStudioK.com. My cart with her is too big. It's not good for my well-being. Okay. Good job there, Andrew. Jesus. Chris R. says, Thurno the Bounty Hunter. I would watch that TV show, right? Oh, man. Good shit. Good shit. Tyler wants to know, Tyler McCombs over there on YouTube wants to know, are there any other reputable places to pick up BMC chisels besides USA Gundam Store? Every time I try to pick up some, they are out of stock. It makes me sad. Yeah, Adam blows through his stock like crazy when he does get stock in, and that's the number one thing with USA Gundam Store. He can't keep shit in stock. He orders as much as he possibly can. People just buy it like crazy. So I would say be patient. But there are definitely other spots within the U.S. That sell BMC chisels as well. My main recommendation would be the Volks USA store. VOLKS. Volks USA. Now mind you, they only go from, God, somebody help me. I think it's 0.1 to I think 0.5. I think that's the maximum of their range. So if you do want anything bigger, then you're either gonna have to wait for Adam to get more in stock and kind of be Johnny on the spot, or I really like using Hobby Search, 1999.co blah blah blah. They tend to have the best stock levels for BMCs of any kind of international vendor. So I really like those. But if you want to keep domestic, Volks USA, check them. Pretty good. They're pretty good. They also have some other really cool stuff that they carry as well. So might be worth a look. But I'm partial to Adam. What can I say, right? So there you go. Let's see. Kenneth Sims says, recommended God Hands acrylic sanding stick. Cheap, too. Yeah, man. If you can get just like a generic sanding, just a generic little thing like this. This is what, maybe 3/8 of an inch thick right there. These are great. Pretty damned rigid. Won't rust. Won't warp or anything like that. Really good shit. Let's see. JD's over here on YouTube. He says, Tyler, you should be able to purchase them on back order. It's worth the wait. Yeah, that's true. That is a good point. You can purchase on USA Gundam Store. You can purchase back order stuff. So, yeah. Let's see. Bill says, place your order if they show back order is available. You will get them as soon as they come in. Yeah, I mean, it's actually a pretty good idea, right? Zero Kai's with us. He's over there on YouTube. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. He says, I hear Vallejo Mecha Paint is good and airbrush ready. I don't particularly use Vallejo Mecha, the Mecha line, but I've heard some decent things about it. So I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Let's see. Twitch says also what BMC chisels you need, and I'll order them. Yeah. See, there you go. Look, Bounty Hunter Thurno the Bounty Hunter, right? Love it. All right, so let's get caught up. So we'll work on this piece here in just a second, but I did some additional scribing on the top of the head here, and I wanted to show you guys just real quick before we move on. Let's get super zoomed in here so you guys can really see what's what. Yeah. Boom. On. Here we go. All right, let's get this centered up, shall we? So we've got some nice backside kind of details right there, all the way down, and then what I did here, just scribed some lines right here, and you know, got a little box deal right there, a little mirror on the other side, yeah. So that looks pretty good. Goes with all of the scribing that we've done thus far. Hard to see these notches down here below the power cables and everything, but there's the top barrel. That looks nice, right? I like that look. Anyway, that's kind of what I did on the excuse me, on the head so far. So I think it's looking pretty good. So we're gonna set that off to the side, because we're not gonna mess with that tonight. We're gonna mess with this. Yeah, we're gonna clean this guy up. Yeah, we're gonna clean it up. So Kirk Hill says the Mecha Paint is not bad for acrylic, but does not compare to lacquer. I agree. Ruslam Bill says most used BMC chisels are 0.1, 0.125, and 0.15. These are normally sold out fast. Yeah, very. Andrew says, Andrew, are you drunk? God. He says, BMC users strike me as her elitist, lol. Madworks is great for cheapos like me. Anyway. Kuko305, question guys, I've been working on my painting. I've had issues with paint chipping easily on my current build. I'm using Mr. Color. My fluorescent colors seem weaker. Is that normal for fluorescent? Okay, so there's two things. There's two things there. Paint chipping. Now, Kuko, you gotta let us know. Does the paint chip down to the primer, or does the paint chip down to the plastic? Let me know. Because that's important. It's very important. And where does it chip? Does it chip on the corners, the edges, or does it chip, within the flat kind of field like that? We need answers. Now, to address the fluorescence, Mr. Color fluorescence, the Mr. Color line fluorescents, are best used over a nice coat of white to get the full impact of that fluorescent, because those particular paints will take on the hue of whatever's below them, right? So if it's gray, it'll seem muddled. If it's black, it'll seem very dark. If it's white, vibrant. So keep that in mind. Definitely shoot a coat of white before you lay down your fluorescence. That's a big thing for me. Okay, so Kuko commented a couple times after that. So, he says, or is it due to prep? The other colors on my build, which are not fluorescent, are fine. Sanding, cleaning, and priming before. Okay. So Kuko, let us know. I mean, does it chip down to the paint, or does it chip down to the primer? Because that'll kind of tell me a different thing. Yeah. Andrew Young. Sheesh, I just had my hands shifted on the keyboard and didn't want to change. Oh my god. Andrew, what are you doing? What? He's typing with his left hand, you guys. Andrew, stop it. You're gonna go blind. Weird kid. Anyway. Tazo! Robbie, what's up, buddy? Gundam Taz. He's over here. He says, good day, legend. You talking about yourself over here, buddy? Come on now. Hey, if you guys aren't following Gundam Taz, TAS_77, do yourself a favor, go do it. Anyway, Andrew's a lefty. So he's typing with his right hand, I guess, you guys. Jesus. Anyway. Robbie says, I'm a legend in my own lunchtime. Nice. I think we all are, brother. I think we all are. Nice. Hey, Kuko. Let us know, man. Let us know. Does it chip down to the paint, or does it chip down to the primer? Because that's going to be important. From what it sounds like to me, if it chips on like the edges or the corners or something like that, then you've probably got basically like a contaminated surface, like body oils are getting on that getting on those parts between those coats, and it's affecting the adhesion. That's what it sounds like, because whenever I see especially solvent-based, lacquer-based acrylics like Mr. Color, like SMS, like Gaia, Alclad, all that. Whenever I see those or hear about them chipping, usually surface contamination, dust, body oils. I mean, you name it, right? So what I would probably do, wear gloves, definitely, down primer, chips on the corners. Okay, so yeah, you gotta imagine when you're working with a piece, where are you holding it? You're holding it on the corners, you're holding it on the edges. That's where the oil in your fingers will transfer over. So yeah, you just gotta, when you get up to the priming stage, you have to be super careful. You gotta wash. Number one, I would always wash my hands very, very well before I go and paint, or wear gloves, like nitrile gloves, rubber gloves, something like that. Try not to touch your face, because our faces are naturally oily. Once that gets on your fingers and once that gets on the plastic, I mean, it's lights out. It's game over at that point. So, Ruslan, gotta soak in alcohol before priming. Yes. Bill. Thank you, buddy. Robbie says, don't jerk off before painting. I think Andrew's doing that right now. So, but anyway, a little too personal here, yeah. Yeah, so alcohol bath beforehand, wear gloves, wash your hands, all that. Yeah, just keep everything clean. Everything clean. Cleanliness, be up to before and after primer and paint is just absolutely crucial. So keep that in mind. Tyler McCombs wants to know, what's your favorite putty to use when you don't use super glue or Loctite, especially for larger gap fills? Oh, we just talked about it, Tyler. This guy, boom, right here. Tamiya Epoxy Putty Quick Type. This shit is the best stuff on earth, because you can fill wide gaps. You can fill, or you can reshape parts and things like that. That's what this material, this kind of tan material here is. Yeah. That's Tamiya Epoxy Putty, the quick type. Don't use the smooth type. The smooth type is garbage. Use the quick type. The quick type is the good stuff. But that's exactly what I use, and I swear by it. It's amazing stuff. So, yeah. And Chris R. even said, yeah, he uses epoxy putty. See, I'm teaching you guys. You guys are getting it. Like it. I like it. Let's see. Yeah, look, JD says uses quick type. Boom. Chris R. Epoxy putty. Boom. Nice. Love it. Terry T. Tim, do you water down the alcohol when you're washing parts? No. Don't water it down. Straight up 91% isopropyl alcohol will be your best friend. Now, keep in mind, if you use, where did it go? Freaking hell, I probably threw it away because it's garbage. If you use some sort of like filler putty, like the Tamiya white or like the Squadron green stuff or anything that is solvent based, the alcohol will cause that to reactivate and soften up, and it will start to shrink. So that's why method to our madness, right? That's why we use super glue, and that's why we use Tamiya Epoxy Putty, because those two materials are impervious to that alcohol. Completely impervious to the alcohol, right? So there will be no shrinking, there will be no reactivation of materials, nothing when you do the alcohol washing and everything. So keep it 91%. I mean, realistically, keep it 100, right? We keep it 100. But for your alcohol, keep it 91. God, there should be like an emoji or something. Keep it 91. Talking about the alcohol. Might have to think about that. Because that's a good one, right? Let's see. Fiery. What's up, Fiery? I have a spray bottle of 50/50 water I spritz on pieces while wet sanding between layers. That's a good, that's a great technique as well. You can definitely do that. It definitely saves you the trouble of having a little basin of water and accidentally knocking it over, right? 'Cause trust me, I've done that more times than I'd like to admit. Robbie says, cleanliness is next to child of mechanist. Man, Robbie, get out of here. Jerk. Oh, man. McDio, Manny says, oh, new shirt. Right? There you go. Scuffle. Scuffle's here? Where's Scuffle? Scuffle! He says, evening, people. Can't stay, but wanted to stop by and say hi, and I miss interacting with this community. Dude! My Scuffle. I miss my Scuffle, man. Scuffle's amazing, you guys. If you guys are new and you don't know who Scuffle is kind of like the jokester. He's awesome. It keeps it funny. Definitely keeps it funny. Always puts a smile on my face. Max is over there on YouTube. He says, what's wrong with the smooth type? Great question. The smooth type, what I find is it's not nearly as strong. It's more kind of akin to like your Milliput white. It's just kind of rubbery, and it's just not as solid. It's not as dense. When you go to sand it, even after like a full day cure, which you're gonna need a lot of time to let that stuff cure, it just doesn't sand nearly as nice. You can get damn near mirror finish with the quick type. So that's why I like that over the quote unquote smooth type. You can get it just as smooth, if not smoother. So that's why I would not suggest the Tamiya smooth type. Plus, it takes like 3 times as long for it to cure, which is just stupid. The Tamiya quick type, 8 hours, 12 hours, done. You're good to go. So it's just for me, it's better all the way around. So good question, Max. Good question. He says, sorry if I missed the answer to that. No, you didn't. But that's, again, great question, buddy. Great question. All right. Let's see. Right? George says, by the way, Taz, need a laugh soon. Dude, I need to hear that laugh too, man. I've been, we've been without the Taz laugh for many moons. Yeah. Kuko 305, any recommendations for cleaning parts between coats? I wouldn't, because you run the risk of ruining your paint. The best thing to do, like I said, between coats, keep your hands clean or wear gloves, both even. I am super paranoid. And let's go back to one camera just real quick so we can answer these questions. I am stupid paranoid when it comes to painting and between layers and stuff. Like every maybe hour or two, I will go and wash my hands when I'm, masking or painting or what have you. And then I actually have like a container of like Oxy wipes, the face wipes that I will use. Even though I don't have pimples or acne, I will still use those, before I sit down to paint, just to remove all of the oil off my face, right? Just as a precaution. So as long as you keep everything clean, and keep your hands clean, and you use, good procedures, you don't necessarily need to clean between the coats. Because like I said, just you'll end up losing or ruining, the paint jobs and everything like that. So you don't want to do it anyways. So, excuse me. All right, let's see here. We're trying to get caught up here. Okay, good. Let's see. Max says, thanks for answering the question, Tim. Guess it's time to dry. You were right about the drying time. I cure it for 4 days. Jeez, dude. Yeah, that's... it becomes inefficient at that point, really. You know? It just becomes really inefficient, unfortunately. When I'm on... When... He's over there. On Facebook, he says, I tend to mix 50-50 green stuff, and to me a quick type, it gives it better handling, and you can sand it well, kind of have both properties. The green stuff, I think, is a longer cure, and I think that isn't green stuff more akin to the smooth type anyway? See, me, and the thing I think with Win, he's you're sculpting shit, so you need that time to work and fine tune everything and all that too. Shit, for me, I'm just reshaping and gap filling, so we need it solid, right? So yeah, it depends really on what your usage is, right? So Max says time to change. I mean, yeah, dude. Fiery says, I'm just paranoid about oils and dirt and stuff. Yeah, dude, and that's a very, very legitimate concern. Because I've had to re-strip entire parts. Yeah, and it's just, yeah, bad. Very bad. Gundam Taz, wear gloves, guys. Not the powdered ones, though, especially when working with oils. Yeah, with actual, the oils. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, is that a bear guy? Yeah, dude. Bright guy, come on, man. We got you hooked up. That's that. Yes, bear guy. I'm not afraid to wear it. I love the bear guy, man. I'm not afraid of that, yeah. Tim, show me. Yeah, I think Chris hooked it up with the link after that. Yeah, there you go. So Chris got you. Good. Powder-free neutral gloves. Yep. Yeah, Win says yeah. It's less sticky, and it actually half the curing time. Okay. But yeah, all good. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, it's so the green stuff, like Win is saying, is less sticky than the Tamiya quick type, which actually I kind of like the reason the way that it sticks, simply because I like it, you know, bonding to the surface of the plastic much better. I know for Win, when he's sculpting stuff, you do need it to be less sticky so it doesn't stick to your hands, right? So that's a good thing for his purposes. For my purposes, obviously, which are much different, I'm just reshaping parts and, you know, again, filling gaps and stuff. I want the ultimate adhesion of that epoxy putty to that surface. So yeah, I mean, you have to customize things to fit your needs and everything. So that works for Win, and obviously it works really well. Motherfucker is a world champion and second place and third place. The only person in the damn world to have the three, right? And then he's got, what? Then another special award. But he's a good dude, man. I fucking love that guy. Win, you're the best, buddy. Thank you for watching, brother. Always a good time, dude. Always a good time. Let's see. All right, we got to speed through these here because we're getting lost in the sauce here. Uh-oh. Did this just, I think the there we go. Okay, so now we're caught up. Cool. Woo, rock and roll. All right, come on, chat. Keep up. There we go. Okay. Awesome. All right, so now let's get back to business here because it's 11:24. We got about 35-ish minutes. Yeah. Terry wants to know any thoughts on Aves epoxy sculpt or epoxy clay. I've not used Aves before, so I really can't say much difference or say much to it, unfortunately. all I will say is I've never had an issue with the Tamiya epoxy putty quick type, and it's perfect for my needs. Let's say that. Bry Guy says, yeah, don't use powdered gloves at all. Really only use those when it comes to cleaning with acidic chemicals. Worked as a sous chef for 3 years, and using proper rubberized gloves will save your hands. Bro Builder. Brian's with us. What's up, Brian? He says, Aves is good. I have been using it for nearly a decade. So there you go. There you go. Sweet. All right. Let's get back to it. Yeah? Let's go camera 2. We're going to commit to this. Like we said 10 minutes ago, right? All right. So we've got this part here. We've got it fairly trimmed up, close enough to the edge so we can really start to get to work and really get this, nice and cleaned, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to take get this on camera here, yeah? Get this little NT cutter going, and we're going to slowly start to carve this thing down. And we're going to use the blue surface kind of as our guide, right? Because we want, we essentially want all of this to match up and look like just a single piece, right? Okay, so that's pretty good right there, right? That's not bad. That's pretty straight. We're going to come back and we're going to file this flush and get that just dead ass straight. But before we do that, I want to try and get these other surfaces in check so we can kind of do the same thing. Now, the cool thing about using super glue, right? I know you guys, I preach it all the time, and I will not stop ever preaching the wonders of using super glue as filler. Because if you looked at the kind of before, right? Oh, Taz is leaving. Cheers, guys. Back to the grind. Robbie, thank you, buddy. Take care, man. If you look at the kind of the before with just the two sheets here laminated over this this part, right? You can see that there are basically bevels in the blue piece that would have left a startling gap between it and the plastic sheet, right? So to avoid that, I just came back in here and filled in the gaps in here with super glue, yeah? And once we get this cut down, you'll see that that super glue is just the magic filler between the gap and the parts themselves, right? And it just works so good. Works so good. So, yeah, guys, just try it. Just try it once, and trust me, you will never, ever go back to that filler putty. And then you will be preaching the gospel of using super glue as as filler. So again, just like with the seams that we worked on earlier, what I'm just doing is trying to knock down the high points. I'm not being super careful right now. I'm just basically just trying to go after, essentially the low-hanging fruit, if you will. But we're just trying to get it knocked down to where we can start to really just scrape it down, and or file it down or sand it down. One of those techniques. And you know, we've got a nice strong corner going on here because there's a nice corner there. We've got, you know, a sloping curve here. You can kind of see that to match the shape of this this armor panel. Yeah. So that's basically what we really want to try and get to. And you can kind of see here the top profile of this armor piece is there's a little curve right there as well. Yeah. So we're going to go after all this. We're just going to, like I said, take our time and just knock the high points off first, and then we can kind of get into the finesse stages of things. Yeah. Now watch your finger placement, right? Because if my thumb is right here, and you can see it's overhanging that corner, if I slip, it's not going to be fun, right? So move your thumb down so that it's underneath of that knife path. Yeah, just trust me. You'll be thanking me very, very soon. Yeah, because everyone, I don't care who you are, I don't care how good you are with your knife skill, you will one day slip and it'll be bad. So, get your digits out of the way, you'll be good to go. Chris R says, don't do it, Tim. That will be a bad day, right? George says, no bleeding, please. No, trust me. I am super careful with finger placement, right? Okay. It's pretty good there. It matches that top profile pretty well, right? Yeah. So I think we're in good shape. There. Now the sides here, it looks like that super glue flowed down, and we've got a little bit of a gap there. Now, actually, wait a minute. I think what I was going to do was bevel that. Yeah. Okay. So, let's start to match that bevel, shall we? Like that. Okay. Good. We're starting to work down toward that that blue piece there, yeah. Shield of Iron happens to me a lot. Razors are sharp, right? Terry T says, my fingers and hands are my money makers. I'm extremely careful and never use knife while sleepy or drunk. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good call there. Tyler McComb says, never ever use dull blades either. Buy blades in bulk and don't hesitate to change them often. Sharper blades equal greater control through less force. That is true. And come to think about it, I think this blade is reaching kind of the end of its life because this is getting a bit hard to get through this plastic. I find myself having to do this slicing motion here, so we might be changing this blade here sooner rather than later. Okay, but we are getting to the point where we're matching this bevel here. I think that's where we want to leave it. Let's do the fingernail test. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Right, there we go. Rock and roll. All right, so let's do just a little bit of fine tuning right there to that bevel. And that's damn near perfect. Just some slight scraping here just to match up the two surfaces perfectly. Let's see what that looks like. That looks much better now. Oh yeah. Let's just get just like that. Oh yeah. All right, so let's take a look at that surface real quick. This this bevel here, because I'm pretty happy with it. Let's see, get super zoomed in, and let's get that bad boy right here. Let's go 5x, and all right, so you can see right here this bevel that is super smooth, and you can see that layer. You can see that layer of super glue in between it, right? So you've got the blue part, you've got the white part, and then you've got this kind of darkish, transparent layer, thin layer right between that. That's the super glue, you guys. That's the super glue doing its job, basically becoming a plastic, if you will, filler. And it's awesome. So that is really a good result. You can just see how just dead ass smooth that is right there, yeah? Looks good. Looks good. I like it. So, that's what we're looking for. That's what we are chasing, right? Those are the results. All right. Good shit. Let's see. Hey, Freddy's with us. What's up, Freddy? Let's see. JD says, I had a nasty knife slip once with Warhammer, cut my thumb down to the muscle. Such a fast and clean cut, didn't even feel it, but I was able to see my muscle fibers move, which was pretty cool. I'll take your word for it. I will take your word for it. That sounds gruesome, but hey. Freddy says, you don't want to cut your finger while drunk, nonstop bleeding. Nice. Jesus. Bro Builder says, super glue the cut. It was the original intent of the product to act as instant field sutures. I've done that plenty of times. It does work. I will be honest. It actually does work. It works really well, actually. Yeah, just close the cut, super glue right on top, done deal. Yeah, yeah. Win says, if sculpting with epoxy putty, use Vaseline on tools instead of water or powder, buddy. Like, because it's petroleum based, it will bond the epoxy surface together, but prevent it from sticking to your tool or fingers. With powder, it leaves a weird surface, and water prevents the epoxy from sticking to each other. I don't know. I've always had great luck with water. But again, that shows you guys multiple methodologies of doing things. There's no one right way, right? So that's a great tip, Win. Great tip. Brian says, yeah, the cut has to be dry. Also can use a small strip of toilet paper or paper towels to act as reinforcement. I've actually done that too. Rob Umbara, great question. Why use super glue, not plastic cement? Super glue, number one, is going to be denser. Super glue, since it's an adhesive, isn't going to go anywhere. It's not going to get dislodged or anything. And then, since I always use an alcohol bath, like a 91% isopropyl alcohol bath before priming my pieces, I don't want that alcohol to reactivate the filler putty. So, yeah, the super glue just works better for filling, imperfections and stuff, just so much better than, your typical filler putty, like your Tamiya white, your Squadron green, stuff like that. So, good question. Edwin RSA, good morning. Good morning, Edwin. Thank you for tuning in. Dwidge said, I can attest to seeing that on the field while I was deployed. Whew. Man. Kirk Hill says, yeah, they still have medical super glue in hospitals for cuts. Wife brings it home all the time. Nice. Let's see. HRO 148, you should see the look on people's faces when I seal wounds with super glue. It just works. It just works, right? Zashan's over on Facebook. He says, hey, everyone, I have arrived. What's going on, dude? Oh, man. Good stuff. All right. So, back to this piece, right? Back to this piece. Let's start fine-tuning. And, because now we've got to get into the little nooks and crannies here. And I'm going to try to keep my visor out of the way of the camera as much as possible here, but I can't guarantee anything. Let's see. So, this is the tricky part right here, because you want to follow the already established bevel, right? But at the same time, you need to get it tuned down to that surface, yeah. Okay, so I think that's good. We're gonna have to use a little finesse on these edges here. There's a little crud, yeah. So now let's work on this side. This surface here is going to be mostly super glue because this had a very strong bevel to it. George wants to know, Tim, what about a thin cement and sprue mix for filler? I've tried that and I don't really like it because, number one, at least in my experience, it takes forever for that stuff to cure, right? A good 24 hours, depending on your thickness of that material, right? It could take a long time, because if you're filling a sizable, imperfection or gap, and if you're building that stuff up, it's going to take some time for that to cure. We've seen, obviously, how long it takes for, solvent, glue, solvent, plastic cement to cure. So imagine that being extended several times. So it does take a very, very long time to cure. I've noticed that there is some shrinkage as well. It's not my preference, let's put it that way. And I probably would never use it, personally. Zashan says, just got home from work. Hope everyone is doing well. Dude, Z, yeah, we're always doing well, man. Bill says, Ruslam says, I know it can work, George. It can also deform the part as it reacts to the part. Yeah, and that's actually, I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's a very good point too, because if you lay it on too thick, it could deform whatever part you're trying to fix. So that's a good thing too. Kirk Hill says, yeah, it takes a long time to cure. Taken some of mine up to 3 days. Yeah, that's real. That's real. Excuse me. Yeah, it's people use it, and some people swear by it. But I can't recommend it. I can't. Shield of Iron says over there on Twitch, he says, takes forever to cure. Air pockets, another good point. Too long to make, another good point. Slightly harder to sand, shrinks and can be gummy at times, even with letting it cure for a while. I don't like it. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much echo those sentiments. Yeah. Like I said, the thing with super glue is just that it's like the perfect culmination of properties, right? You've got the adhesive property, obviously. You've got the curing time. You've got the density after it cures, which is basically almost the same as plastic. And you've got the workability of it, which, again, since it basically forms into its own plastic, you can cut it, you can sand it, file it, drill it, scribe it, whatever, right? So, yeah, it's just kind of that perfect thing that just a lot of people are not used to using it in that way, right? But I think once you do, sky's the limit. Cheers, George. All right. Here we go. All right, so let's now, we're going to kind of pause on this inner pieces here, right? Let's start to really fine-tune these surfaces here and really kind of get that going to a more finished state, right? Let's start with this flat surface here, because I think that's going to be our kind of easiest entry point for this. So for that, I'm just using, just a regular little needle file. And we're just going to go at it. That's looking pretty good already. There's definitely some more plastic, some more meat left up. Whoop, be good if I was on camera. There's still some, some meat up here because it's forming kind of a gap right there. It's filing here and filing there, but leaving a gap in between. So that tells me that there's there's more material to take off. But we are getting there, so that looks good. All right, so another way, trust me, you guys are probably going to think this is overkill, but it's not. Boom. Watch this. You want something flat real quick? Use the bastard file. Oh. Yeah. All right. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. That's nice and flat. Okay. Now, another thing that we're going to use, sanding block, right? Sanding block. Let's get this guy involved here. Yeah. Let's see. Now this is a nice solid 400 grit dry, right? So this is nasty. This will definitely get us into the ballpark of flatness that we're looking for. But it's also going to require us to do a lot of finish work. But as you can see, that right now is really nice and flat. That profile is looking good. Looking good. Yeah. All right. So, let's see. Scrolling back up here. Ooh. Stop it, chat. Okay. Bry Guy wants to know, Tim, what is the best way to curve styrene? Having a problem to know what the best option is without wasting a sheet to figure it out. You know, it depends. It's going to depend a lot on your usage, man, because I think it was on Friday we did the heat bending of the tube or of the rod and everything. This right here. So that would that might come in handy, but it's, you know, the way that I did it was more specific to certain points, like on a rod or a strip or something like that. If you're looking to form a giant, you know, a much bigger piece than that, then you're going to want to look for a more kind of spread out heat source, like probably like a hair dryer. Maybe a heat gun. Kirk Hill says boiling water. It's a potential as well. But you're gonna want a much more ambient kind of heat source than this candle lighter that I used, because that's more focused to a single point. So I would try that. Terry T says, George, check out Bunker Pla videos on YouTube. He does use the glue and sprue technique with success with what he's trying to do. Yeah, Bunker Pla is pretty good. I like his channel, so I highly recommend it as well. Julio Ponte, clipping nubs. He says, man, have I been creeping in the background trying to get through this backlog. Nice. Dwidget says, another thing about super glue, it definitely helps to speed up... Shit, I lost the comment. Speed up the build process if you're scratch building. Absolutely. Julio says, Tim dropping knowledge bombs all episode, though. Thanks, man. Ruslan Bill says, apply heat. Put the styrene in boiling water for a minute. You can apply direct heat, but be careful there. Yeah, absolutely. Benny Green, trying to recruit new viewers. Nice. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Tyler McCombs, the old bastard file. Yeah, dude, I love the bastard file. You guys, it's such an underrated tool. I swear. And you can finesse it too. I don't care what anybody says. You can actually finesse it. Let's see. R. Aurora says, I'd ask if you were looking to sell any of your backlog, Julio, but truth be told, I'm probably on a buying freeze for the rest of the year. Too many pre-orders for the rest of the year. Yeah, dude, you are. Shit. Kurt Hill says, yeah, Painted Ben, I use hot boiling water for sheets. Yeah, that's another very good tactic. Julio Ponte says, I say smack your hands together and rub them like the Karate Kid for the heat. Yeah, nice. Chris R. Tim, I need to cut out some circle using evergreen. What's the best way to cut and sand so they are all the same? That's cutting circles is always a tough type of challenge. Now there are certain things that you can do, right? Let's see. If you go to like the hardware store and get a really thin bolt and then a nut to, you know, screw onto that, what you can do is you can drill a hole into the sheets, sandwich those onto that screw, wind down the nut super tight on that, put that whole assembly into a power drill like this, and then just start turning it and sand those down. Basically, you're creating yourself a mini lathe at that point, and you'll get, you know, perfectly identical shapes. Whether they're circles or not is another question, but they're going to be close. But that's one way. But if you don't want a hole in the middle, which, mind you, can be filled. Yeah. You know, you can use something like a compass. You know, you can put like a piece of brass rod in one end where usually the lead goes, and then use the actual point here as kind of your scribing head, and you can scribe out you know, some circles like that, and you can repeat those. Just another way. Or you can use a circle template and kind of scribe them that way. You know, no matter what, cutting circles like that are always going to be challenging, just simply because of the shape. So you're gonna have to finesse all of them, no matter what. So those are the best three things that I can kind of think of off the top of my head. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Tyler Coombs says, be very careful with the heat gun on styrene. That shit will melt incredibly fast if not used cautiously. Yeah, big time. And that's why I kind of said maybe a heat gun. You're probably better off with going with something like a hair dryer or the boiling water trick. The heat gun, that shit gets up to like 800 degrees like that. The melting point of styrene, I think, is like 225. So may not be a perfect match, right? So there you go. Let's see. Brandon 5269 says, okay. The party can start now. I'm here. Nice. Let's see. Better late than never. What did I miss? Dude, you missed a lot. You should rewind it and see, because we used a bunch of stuff. Ruslam says use a circle cutter. Double-sided tape the circles together, sand and shape at the same time, then cut them apart and remove the tape. Yeah, it's another great call. The chat is going so fast I can't even keep up with it here. Let's see. Brendan, hey, what are some common glues when used when doing custom builds? Great question, Brandon. Real quick, this is my solvent glue of choice. This is Plastic Magic. This glues styrene, ABS, and a bunch of other plastics together that other glues can't. And then for your super glue and stuff, either Loctite Ultra Liquid Control or the BSI Instacure Plus. This is the 5 to 10 second cure time. Those are my weapons of choice. If you can't find those locally, the Amazon link below, you can get those. But good question. Thank you for watching as well, Brennan. Bry Guy, yo Julio, Team Awful win. Yeah, go Team Awful, right? Brennan 5269, curious if you could use a leather punch to cut perfect holes. Yes, you can actually, because I do it as well sometimes. Now, I will use these punches for very thin plastic, not thick plastic. So when I mean thin, I mean like 1/4 millimeter thick, nothing more. Because after that, it just deforms the plastic. It's worthless at that point, right? But yeah, you can. I use it more for masking tape. I use those punches to cut very small holes and circles for masking tape. So it works a charm. Kirk Hill says, off to paint in the garage later, guys. Kirk, thank you for watching, buddy. Bry Guy says, actual figure out. I can do a basic hexagonal type shape, make a circular / oval like cut out and use it to sand and curve it out. Brian, you lost me there, buddy. I'm sorry. Yeah, you lost me, dude. I'm sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Brandon 569, if it's thin plastic, I would think a set of leather hole punches would be able to hammer through evergreen sheet pretty easily. Yeah, it is. 1/4 millimeter though. 1/4 millimeter. So, yeah. Tyler McCube says, if searching super glue doesn't get you results, also try searching cyanoacrylate glue, which is the non brand name, i.e. chemical name of the glue. Yes, CA glue. Zur, I saw. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome to the Mecha Army. Awesome. Good stuff. So, yeah. So, CA glue, cyanoacrylate, that's the, like Tyler said, that's kind of the chemical name, right? So, the proper name, actually. So, good stuff. All right, so back to this piece that we've been working on for the last 20 minutes here, right? So, we're going to go back to the good old Bastich file here. And as you can see, I'm just basically turning this as I file just to try and keep a uniform surface all the way around. And that's getting us pretty damn good. Pretty close to where we need to be. Now, what I'm going to end up doing is laminating this front part with plastic as well. So this doesn't need to be perfect right now, right? So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up putting a piece of sheet over top of this, right? To get it nice and bulked out, because that's what we want to go with. That's the look. That's the look, you guys. All right, so real quick. Trying to keep this held at the perfect angle is always kind of tough. But I think that is good enough. All right. So now we've got this top surface here, this side surface, right? I'm going to start with the knife first and start kind of scraping this down because it is a little bit more aggressive than, say, the ceramic scraper, right? And that's essentially what we want. So we're basically just kind of, again, knocking down the high points at this stage. We'll come back here in just a few seconds and use the ceramic knife, or the scraper, I should say. But so far, that's starting to look really good. Yeah. Still a little low points, still a few high points that we got to take down. So not too bad. And this scraper is earning its value right now. Whew, yeah. So that's just getting baby butt smooth. Baby butt smooth. Really good shit. Now, this side we do need to get perfect because there's not going to be any more lamination on this particular side. So we need to make sure that this side especially is just super nice, super smooth. So we're going to end up scraping this in a few different directions and making sure that these surfaces meet and kind of marry up perfectly, right? That's the goal. I think we're getting there. Okay, that looks good. Now, I'm going to take some higher grit sandpaper here. I think this is 400 again. And we're going to start really just kind of getting this, everything just really flushed and married up. this particular step will definitely reveal any imperfections and stuff, because the sand, or the, I should say, the plastic dust will catch in any, you know, high points, low points, surface imperfections. Like right here, you can see the buildup right here. So that tells me that there's something still there that we need to get, right? So let's go back to the scraper here. Just kind of go at that a little bit. And then we'll come back here. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good. Just blending this in. That's the hardest part of this process, you guys, is just making sure these two pieces just match perfectly, right? So now that that's done, we're going to scale back the grid of the sandpaper here. This is 800 or roundabout, and we're just going to come back in here, smooth out those sanding lines of 400, and just kind of take this down a lot and smooth it out. And there already you can kind of see how this thing is taking that profile really, really nice. Really nice. Really smooth, too. I'm happy with that so far. That looks good. That's what we're going for. That's the goal, right? Woo. Hit my phone there. Anyway. All right. Let's get caught up real quick, and then I think we're going to call it a night. Yeah? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Brandon5269 says, anyone here ever built any of the Gundam Universal Unit mini model kits? Damn, say that 3 times fast, right? McDio, Manny says, hey Tim, why are you laminating the piece? Oh, good question, Manny. So, before we did this, this particular piece was rounded, right? So it had a curve right in here, yeah? So when I went to eliminate that curve and basically file that down and cut down the plastic, that made the inside thickness here, and you can kind of see it. It's right here in the corner. Made it very, very thin, right? And plus, I wanted to bulk this out a little bit and kind of give the chest a little bit more presence. So we put a little bit of meat on its bones, you know. So we laminated a millimeter back on here. And we're just basically going to make this thing kind of more squarish, more angled, because that's kind of the overall feel of this particular Zaku is the angles, especially with using the Sinanju Stein waist unit, and then obviously the angles of you know, the high mobility parts and the feet and everything like that. So adding a few more angles to this is not a bad thing. So that's kind of why I'm laminating this plastic over top. So good question. Let's see. Brandon 5269 says, I bought 3 of them. Oh, okay. So Tyler says, I actually built a GPO-1 full burner UN kit recently. Brandon says, I bought 3 of them, Tyler. Built them and liked them. So now I'm going back and painting them and cleaning them up cool little kits. Interesting. Nice. Let's see. Keep going. Mecha Decal, Manny says the power of super glue. Dude, for real. So, it's just, super glue's the best, man. Super glue's the best. Let's see. Fiery says, whoo, went to go feed my cat, but I was able to watch through my phone. Nice. Mostly questions and trimming the plate. That's what was missed. No chat on the mobile, though, sadly, Fiery says. Yeah, it happens. Manny says, yeah, there is a chat on mobile. You have to make sure it's activated. Yeah. Keep going there. Good stuff. Fiery said, sadly, Tim's Amazon link has no chisels. Yeah, because they don't have them on Amazon, unfortunately, which is, more the pity, but it is what it is. Brandon5269, anyone know where I can find a BMC 1.25 chisel in stock? USA Gundam sold out before I could buy. Yeah, they always do, man. We mentioned earlier some other possible locations. Volks USA, VOLKS, Volks USA. Look up their store, and you will probably find it. Or you can check out Thurno Hobby and Gaming on Facebook, right? He is the bounty hunter, Thurno the bounty hunter, right? So he'll probably be able to find some for you as well. Yeah. So good shit there. All right, you guys, it's 12:11. It's about that time. Let's finish out for the night, shall we? I'm gonna continue working on this thing tomorrow and stuff like that, and hopefully get this into a good working order come this weekend. But hey, you guys, Friday, check out Mechanism. We're going to be back on with a whole bunch of really cool people. Hopefully Brian doesn't pass out this episode. Right, Brian? And man, we're just going to have some fun. We're going to kick it, and it's going to be a good thing, right? Chris R. says, patent pending on Thurno Bounty Hunter. Dude, for real. That's a good one. I'd watch that show. But so come on back Friday. We're gonna do the Mechanism thing, and then I will be back on Monday. This Saturday is gonna be the next episode of Gubla Talk. Yes, and we have a gentleman by the name of Fox. Hey, Michael Fay, thank you for your sub. Appreciate that, buddy. Welcome to the Mecha Army. Thank you for watching. But we have Fox. He is the model making guru. I know a lot of people are familiar with him. I unfortunately am not, but he is going to be our special guest this Saturday on Gunpla Talk. So model making guru will be on with us live. Now, since I'm not hugely familiar with this gentleman, unfortunately, I'll probably be taking a back seat in terms of the hosting. I'm gonna let somebody else take the wheels for this episode. And so Mike Wolf, he goes by Fox, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, model making guru. He will be our guest on Gunpla Talk this coming Saturday, so that'll be fun. So I think either Simon or Josh might be taking the wheel for this one, because I know both of those guys are pretty familiar with Fox or Mike or whatever. So we'll see, right? But it'll be fun regardless. And it'll be good. It'll be good times. Yeah, it'll be real good times. Boom Hut Stroops Unite. Oh yeah, because he's got the group, the Boom Hut deal, right? Yeah, he invited me to that, and I joined it. It's a cool little group. So yeah, come on and watch on Saturday, and it should be really fun. Getting to know him and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna have to do my homework leading up to the show, so that'll be fun too. So guys, Mechanism on Friday, Gunpla Talk on Saturday, back here kicking ass on Monday. Yeah. So all right, you guys, You want this cool ass bear guy t-shirt if you're not afraid to wear it, go get you one at www.chadamecha.com. And you'll find shirts and hats and bags and all that stuff there. And oh, nice. Oh, spamming a can. Word, Michael Fay. Good stuff, dude. Awesome. So, hey, if you need tools and materials and stuff like that, Amazon link just below here on Facebook and on Twitch. That side if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube and Twitch. Facebook's over here. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, packed weekend for real. Not nearly as packed as the last few weekends with classes and other stuff. So thankfully, we're getting the show done early on Saturday, and then I can chill. So it's good times. But anyway, if you need kits or paints or decals, like the good old Mecha Decal 001, I saw Terry T raving about those kind of in pre-show and stuff like that. They are really that good, you guys. If you don't believe me, go back and watch Monday's stream. We tested them, and we compared them to the high-Q stuff you see me apply. All of these decals here, they are amazing, and they are super crystal clear. So, go get you some of those. $8.99 a sheet. Definitely worth it. So, guys, have an awesome Thursday. Be safe out there. Go build something cool, and we will see you back here on Friday for Mechanism. All right? See you guys. Take care. Mecha Army.